Kathy Park in for Morris Jones, and this is News Channel 8. And we begin taking a live look at the House floor where representatives are voting on the debt compromise. We'll have the latest as all the votes come in. Then, an incident on Metro's Red Line makes a mess of rush hour. Plus, a lucky break for drivers with parking tickets in D.C. You won't believe how much one man could save through the amnesty program.
Meteorologist Devin Lucy here, Mr. Basement Weather Center. A number of severe thunderstorms through our afternoon into the evening rush hour. Right now, severe thunderstorm warnings have all expired right around the immediate metro. Still have a flash flood warning for parts of Loudoun County. This storm right over Bowie, Mitchellville, moving off southeast, very slow movement, anywhere from 15-20 miles per hour. This is our storm that is still dropping lots of heavy rain. That's why the flash flood warning still through Leesburg, Evergreen Mills, Ashburn, even down to Sterling. Then one storm that has really been east of Fredericksburg should probably miss our folks and friends down south that way. Our first forecast with our weather graphics showing these storms should be coming to an end as we go overnight. Then as we head into Tuesday afternoon, still hot, still very hot for even this time of the year. We'll have a complete look at this forecast, but first, the news starts right now.
You're watching News Channel 8 with Kathy Park.
Tonight, Washington is waiting on a crucial vote on the debt ceiling compromise. The House is voting now. There are just a few minutes left until we have the final vote on whether to pass a debt compromise and raise the debt ceiling. This could be a close one with opposition to the deal from both sides of the aisle. There are about 4 minutes left in the vote, and we have a reporter standing by, and we'll bring you the latest as soon as we have those details. In the meantime, here's a look at the bottom line on that debt agreement. It allows the debt ceiling to rise by almost $2.5 trillion. That gives the government borrowing power until 2013. $1 trillion will be cut from discretionary spending. There are no immediate tax cuts, but a special committee will report on new ways to cut spending by Thanksgiving. And Americans weren't the only ones relieved over the compromise. After the news broke, Tokyo's market closed higher than it has in weeks. Analysts say Congress is likely watching this to see how an agreement affects confidence in foreign investors. And making news around our region, a man trapped under a train at the Friendship Heights metro station has been pulled out and taken to the hospital. Police are still investigating the incident. They're not sure if the man jumped or fell or how fast the train was going when he was hit. This caused major delays on the Red Line starting just before 5 o'clock. Trains are still single tracking between Medical Center and Van Ness UDC. D.C. is strapped for cash and is hoping to bring in millions of dollars by voiding hundreds of millions in fines. The amnesty program for overdue tickets starts today. Stephen Cheetah met a man who could save $5,000.
Do you want to pay?
They came in droves, even though some of them no longer are allowed to drive.
I would like to have amnesty.
The DMV expects a big turnout for its amnesty from additional penalties if you pay your overdue tickets.
I owe a lot of money in tickets, like $8 grand.
We are talking about a lot of money.
I was working from 12 midnight to 8 in the morning, and by the time I get off, I get a ticket.
But I just got a ticket.
The Department of Motor Vehicles estimates it is owed $479 million in tickets issued prior to January 1st, 2010, with accrued penalties. That's $245 million in tickets alone for parking, moving, and camera violations.
And out of that amount, we estimate that maybe we're going to collect about $6.3 million.
It isn't just the debt and fines which is a burden. The unpaid tickets can affect credit ratings, or if the ticket is for a moving violation, hamper efforts for employment.
I'm unemployed because I don't have a driver's license.
While those inside try to pay off the tickets, outside, the ticketing and towing continues. While they came eager to pay their debt, they still resent the district's aggressive enforcement.
I think this is a ploy for them to get their money.
The amnesty will run from today till January 27th, 2012. Stephen Cheetah, News Channel 8.
Drivers in Maryland may have a little more time before the tolls go up. Today, transportation officials said board members are considering making changes to their plan after receiving increasing opposition from drivers. The agency wants to raise tolls on the Bay Bridge and other state bridges, tunnels, and roads. The increase is likely to go in effect in November. Red light cameras are up and running at certain intersections in Alexandria, but before a $50 ticket goes out to drivers who run a red light, police officers must review the case. Gail Pennybacher has the details.
As the traffic light changes from amber to red, cameras not only get 3 individual pictures of an alleged light running, but now there's this video, 15 seconds of it, that helps police officers get the full picture of why someone may have run a red light.
It's a lot more fairer process in my eyes. And it gives you the whole story of what's happening, whether the vehicle's moving out of the way of an emergency vehicle, whether it's moving out of the way for a funeral procession, or it's just trying to avoid an accident itself.
You get 3 people on the intersection or in the crosswalk.
Virginia law requires a police officer like Tony Gabriel here to review each and every image that is produced from 3 new red light cameras in Alexandria before any citation can be sent to the registered owner of the vehicle.
I think it is good that they have police that special operations to look at this situation.
Red light cameras returned to Alexandria. 6 years ago, the General Assembly pulled the plug on their operation, but have reinstated the policy with new scrutiny and better technology.
If you're guilty of it, you should have to pay the fine. If not, then they got to let you go.
Terry Malloy was involved in a serious accident in this intersection in Alexandria. She hopes red light cameras cut down on the danger here.
I think it's a good idea. I really do. If it's going to stop them from running lights in, because people could die.
If you're caught by one of the 3 red light cameras here in the city of Alexandria, it is a $50 civil penalty, and there are no points on your driver's license. In Alexandria, Gail Pennybacher for News Channel 8.
This is News Channel 8 Breaking News.
And we have some breaking news. The House has just taken a vote on the bipartisan compromise reached over the weekend. Our Chris Van Cleve is standing by with the details on the vote. Chris, what can you tell us?
Well, they are still tallying the vote. The clapping, if we take a live shot of the House floor, you will see is in part because they have 264, at least 264 now, 265 yay votes, 158 nay votes. That's more than enough to pass, but also a surprise appearance. If you look carefully, see the woman in the glasses there? That is Representative Gabby Giffords, who returned to the House floor to support the vote today. That is her first return to Washington. Applause erupted on the floor of the House. She's wearing a blue jacket. She's waving there, wearing glasses, dark hair. Gabby Giffords returned to the floor of the House. She, of course, was shot in the head at a campaign appearance in Tucson many months ago. But the other headline here, the effort to raise the debt ceiling has succeeded in the House, passing 267 yes, 161 nay. The bulk of the votes, 174 from Republicans, 93 from Democrats. Speaker Pelosi had estimated that Democrats, 90 to 100 Democrats would vote for it. It's slightly less than half of the Democratic caucus. There were 4 that are listed as not voting, 174 Republicans out of the 240. So Speaker Boehner was able to deliver the votes from his side of the party, his side of the aisle as well. But it appears now the House has.
The nays are 161.
There we go. You can hear this. The House talking now.
The bill is passed, and without objection, a motion to reconsider is laid on the table.
United States House of Representatives. Next up will be the United States Senate.
Does the gentleman from Utah rise?
The Senate will take it up tomorrow.
Without objection, so ordered.
Mr. Chairman, if you don't interfere
and to continue to hear activity down on the floor, you're looking at
kids who are at the back that you can't see because you're standing in front of them. It's the first time that we've ever had pages here, not in 2 small groups, but 1 summer group.
So
These pages
recap,
are going
Kathy,
home this week, and
a couple of things that happened here. Democrats essentially let Republicans max out their vote before you saw Democrats start voting in mass, and they did that right at the end, right as Representative Giffords came onto the floor. Applause erupted, and then that's where the votes came in a flurry to get them past the magic number, in which case was 216. They ended up well above that. Kathy?
All right, quite a nice surprise to see Gabby Giffords there on the House floor. Chris Van Cleve with an update. Thank you very much. And turning to other news, a lawsuit has been filed against the Maryland State Board of Elections. Several civil rights groups led by Casa de Maryland want to block a referendum to put the DREAM Act on the 2012 ballot. The lawsuit claims signatures collected on a petition to reject the law were illegally obtained. The DREAM Act allows certain illegal immigrants to pay in-state tuition at Maryland colleges and universities. A new report shows that D.C. has the highest rate of drug and alcohol abuse in the country. Both D.C. and Virginia are above the national average when it comes to people 12 and older abusing drugs and alcohol. Maryland ranked below the national average. The survey also showed cocaine use was down in Virginia and Maryland. And in our top stories, everything from birth control to breast exams will soon be free for women. Sweeping new guidelines were announced today aimed at helping women prevent health problems before they start.
Under President Obama's health care plan signed into law last year, private insurers will be required to provide women with a whole range of preventive services without charging a co-payment, co-insurance, or deductible.
Half of women, according to studies, forego or delay preventive care because they can't afford it.
Starting on August 1st, 2012, tens of millions of insured women are expected to gain free coverage to services such as well women visits, screening for gestational diabetes, breastfeeding support, domestic violence screening, and all FDA-approved birth control methods, including the highly controversial morning after pill.
Since birth control is the most common drug prescribed to women ages 18 to 44, insurance plans should cover it. Not doing it would be like not covering flu shots.
But some conservative groups argue the pill is not preventative.
For the majority of pro-life Americans who are not in favor of that, this shouldn't be something that's mandated into insurances.
Organizations advocating for women's reproductive rights welcome the changes. As to who is picking up the extra cost, the White House says it doesn't believe new regulations will increase insurance premiums for all Americans, but a spokesperson for the insurance industry expects the costs to be passed down. Stephanie Tsai, ABC News, New York.
And we'll have reaction from local patients later this hour, including some who are very skeptical of the plan. And coming up, it may be the last place she wants to go, but Casey Anthony has been ordered to come back home. We'll explain why she'll have to come out of hiding.
I'm Morris Jones, and coming up on News Channel 8, a strange twist in a deadly DUI case. A judge surprises the whole courtroom. It started as an innocent prank, but now the whole senior class is being punished. And later, possible payback for the killing of Osama bin Laden, the latest on a deadly attack overseas, and the racy items found in bin Laden's compound.
Hi there, meteorologist Devin Lucy. First with a live look at our nation's capital and get a good look at the lower clouds. Hardly see the Washington Monument in the distance, and we're going to have a lot of that in the overnight hours and into the first part of this weekend. Here from the Mr. Basement Weather Center, a first peek at this weekend's outlook. A little bit cool, rainy, maybe a little bit more sunshine with some storms possible, and even more rain beyond, which we'll have near complete forecast in just a few more minutes. But first, the news starts right now.
You're watching News Channel 8 with Morris Jones.
Good evening, everyone, and thanks for joining us. A strange twist in a D.C. courtroom means a grieving family will have to wait longer for justice. The woman who drove onto a crowded sidewalk in Adams Morgan last year was due to be sentenced, but the judge surprised everyone.
It was about 8:30 in the evening last September. Shamika Adams was driving down 18th Street Northwest when she lost control of her car, jumping the curb, killing Julia Bachleitner, an Austrian exchange student studying at Johns Hopkins.
It is a terrible loss. I have a destroyed life.
Adams pleaded guilty to involuntary manslaughter and was to be sentenced this morning. Her friends and family were there for support. But Judge William Jackson told the attorneys he had to recuse himself because his administrative assistant's daughter had a relationship with the defendant, and his own daughter was studying in the same Johns Hopkins program as the victim.
Yeah, I'm very sorry about it because we came over from Austria and we wanted to give our speeches in the sake of Julia, my daughter, who has been killed by this alcoholic driver.
About 20 of Bachleitner's fellow students, most wearing white, were also in the courtroom.
Obviously, this is a very difficult, day for everybody.
Prosecutors are asking that Adams receive a stiff sentence as close to the maximum as possible. Court documents claim